about Islam. And then in 2010, I was abroad and I went into a mosque as a tourist. I made wudu, and guess which month it was? It was Ramadan. Don't mess about with Ramadan if you're a non-Muslim. I made wudu, and I put on a shadur, and I went in, and I made a very simple prayer. I just said, Dear God, I didn't know what else to say. Dear Allah, dear God, I have nothing to ask of you because you've given me so much. Just one thing I'll ask of you. Please bless Palestine. And at that moment I sat down and I wanted to see all the women feeding their children. It was iftar time. But when I sat down, it was as if I was beneath a waterfall of peace. I could not move from the spot where I found myself. The feeling was beyond and outside me. It was nothing I've felt before. I just looked at my hands and I thought, this is like meditation, and I couldn't move for a very long time. And eventually my friend came to me and said, it's time, we should go, we have a hotel. And I heard myself saying, I want to sleep on the floor of the mosque tonight. Because I didn't want to ever leave that feeling. And I slept on the floor of the mosque, and in the morning I prayed Fajr. And then I went outside, and my mind woke up, and it started to put fear inside of me. Shaitan. Really? Islam? Are you sure you can't be Muslim? You drink, you smoke. It's not going to fit your lifestyle. And I looked up, and it was dawn, the sun was coming up, and I looked up and I said, oh my God, not Islam, please. But I knew it was the truth. I knew, and nothing could make me unknow it. Because that feeling told me that somewhere in the universe is peace all the time. And we are the ones making it worrisome. All these thoughts, all these worries, am I late, is my children, my taxes, it's nonsense because the universe is created on peace. Alhamdulillah, I had tasted that peace for a moment and I wanted it forever. Now we were traveling and my friends weren't praying because they were combining their prayers, but every 3 hours, wallahi, every 3 hours I needed to pray. So we'd pass a mosque and I'd say, we should stop and pray now, you want to pray? And they said no, and I was in agony. It was really painful. Do you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to put my head to the ground and I wanted to say, thank you. I just wanted to say subhanallah over and over again for the rest of my life. Subhanallah. 7 days after that experience in London, I said, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah.
Takbir! Allahu Akbar!
And I always say that it was Allah who sent me to Palestine and the people of Palestine who sent me to Allah. Because they exist now, I have no doubt, to teach us, to remind us of our deen. Because nowhere will you find the meaning of Alhamdulillah more graphically lived than in Palestine, in Gaza, and I believe in Syria right now. And we know from the hadith that the Prophet ﷺ saw these times and said, when tribulations befall the Ummah, Iman will be in Sham, in Greater Syria, in Lebanon, in Jordan, and in Palestine. A month ago, I went to Gaza for the first time in 4 years as a Muslim. It was a wonderful homecoming and a terrible homecoming. Because in those 4 years, things have got so much worse. It's unbelievable. If you can imagine queuing 8 hours for £10 worth of petrol that's been watered down. If you can imagine having 12-hour blackouts with no electricity. If you can imagine chopping up your furniture to make one warm meal a day for a family of 12, you're still not close to the misery there. I went to a place called Bayt Hanun, And Beit Hanun is on what Israel considers its ever-expanding border. It used to be a lovely farmland area, but it's not anymore. And I went to visit a family there in the worst condition I'd ever seen. There was one man with two wives, and 17 children. And they were in a garage, empty rooms. It was Maghrib time. And there was nothing in there, and the children just bumped around aimlessly. And the only light was from a mobile phone. And I looked around, and the mother brought the children to me one by one. The first was a boy of 7. He has white phosphorus burns on his legs. White phosphorus, I don't think many people understand this, is napalm with cancer. So he had that on his legs because Israel had rained it down on their area. A 14-year-old, 16-year-old boy was brought over with a big plaster on his shin. His mother ripped it off. A bullet had just been taken out. The Israeli army had shot him in the leg. He was out collecting stones to sell. Ya Allah, they sell stones. There was 2 children who no longer spoke. They just rocked like this because they had shell shock. It went on and on and on. And I went into a back room to pray Maghrib. And when I put my head down in sujood, I couldn't stop crying. The tears came and I thought I would be blinded before they would stop. Now one of these mothers came in, her name is Iman. And she put a hand on my shoulder and she said, "Habibti, are you okay? Why are you crying?" She couldn't imagine a reason why I'd be crying. I said to her, "I hate this. I hate that you have to live like this. I hate that Israel does this to you. I hate that the world doesn't care. I hate that I can't help. I hate your children are in pain. I hate this and I can't live with it." And she looked at me and she said, "You're crying for us?" I said, "Of course." She said, "Well, don't cry for us. We're so happy. We are happy because we have Allah. Allah loves us, and this is our test. And He's told us in the Quran that if we are patient and if we are steadfast and if we stay, we will go to Jannah. So don't cry for us." Alhamdulillah, she said. That night, I was also taken later on to meet a young man called Mohammed Ajur. Mohammed